we're back and from the introduction, and I hope you're all having a great time. I just want to make sure we got everything here going good. We've got a great show for you tonight. We've got Mayor Thompson here with us, the Union City mayor, not the county. He could be. Yeah. I know he was in Washington many years ago, so he might be an undercover president, maybe. Yeah. Not really. But we'll get back here in just a couple of minutes. We'll go to Keepsake Jewelers, and that's where you can go this week. You got this week up till Sunday. Sunday's Mother's Day, so be sure you go there, and they got a wide selection of all kind of things that you can get for your mothers. And so we'll be right back right after Keepsake. Okay, I told you we'll be right back just about a minute there. That's from Keepsake Jewelers. And we have Mayor Thompson with us. Let me flick him over right here. How you doing today, Mayor?
I'm doing great, Jerry. Dodging the storm.
Oh, I know it. And now it's storming. And if we go off the air, if our lights go off, I'll upload this because I am recording it. So,
echoing. You are.
I shouldn't be echoing. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know what echoing is, but it shouldn't be echoing, so, okay. Let's go back here a minute. Okay, and now, you started out living here in Union, and when you was little growing up?
Yeah, my sister and I were born in Charlotte, North Carolina, and my grandmother, my mom and my dad was teenagers by that time, and my grandmother saw a need to kind of scoop us up and bring us down to Union, South Carolina.
Oh, okay. Well, I know you're glad you did. Now, you had a school here that nobody probably ever heard of before, except some of you. When you went to elementary school?
Elementary school. I started school at New Primary Elementary School on Macbeth Street here in Union.
Yeah. Now, you also was a ball player, football and basketball, or was it just?
I played football, basketball, and baseball.
Oh, okay.
And didn't really want to play basketball, but Coach Glenn made me play. He said, keep me out of trouble, and it did. I'm glad he did.
Yeah.
Kind of drafted me out of the hallways to start playing basketball. Baseball was natural. Only thing about baseball, we had a short career in baseball. We didn't have a team in our senior, junior year of high school because we didn't have a baseball coach. So we just let that go.
Yeah, when this is at Union High School that you was there. Now, what position?
This is at Sims High School.
Was it Sims High School?
High School.
Oh, okay, because that's one thing I know was the Union High School. So, what position did you play in baseball?
Baseball, I was a third baseman, and of course, I could also be a catcher or first baseman.
Wow, so you and I played a little bit as far as a catcher, and I learned real quick I didn't want to be a catcher. To me, that was just too close. That ball, that bat swing close to my head.
Yeah, we had a lot of good players in all the positions, and catching was the one that we didn't have a lot of players in that particular position. Nobody wanted to catch, but I didn't mind just being able to play and help the team out. I loved to catch too.
Now, what position did you play in football?
Football, I was a running back. First part of my career, And Coach, here comes Coach Glenn again. Coach Glenn changed me from a running back to a defensive lineman, and he he really burst my bubble because I had planned on setting some records. And matter of fact, this was during the time when Tommy Simmons and Darrell Lawson was playing at Union High, and Tommy had a great career. I think he rushed for almost 2,000 yards, and I had told the team I'm going to beat Tommy Simmons rushing next school term. But I was stuck on the line. I couldn't.
Now, the Sims, did they play Union High School?
No,
okay.
No.
I didn't know if they did or not.
No.
But now, did you graduate from Sims or?
I graduated from Sims in 1970.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, now, when you graduated, you took off to Washington, right?
Right after high school, I took off to Washington, D.C. Not right after, but a few days. Matter of fact, my father died the same day we graduated from, we marched during graduation that Sunday. And the funeral was on Tuesday, and about Friday I was gone, headed to Washington, D.C.
Yeah, well, I read that about your dad like that, and it's horrible to go through as a...
It's trying time.
Yeah. Now, what did you have in mind when you said, I'm going to Washington?
I got family that live there.
Oh, okay.
All through school coming up, I was always my intention, wanting to be a doctor.
Uh-huh.
And after the tragedy in high school, everything was kind of like put on hold, and I just moved to Washington, D.C., got a job, probably my second day there. And I was hired as electrician, electrician's helper.
Uh-huh.
And I worked that job for I guess about 6 straight years.
Wow.
And politics wasn't one of my choices.
Well, I thought that's what I was thinking. Was he going down there to be in politics when I was first?
This was doing Watergate.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. It was a lot of things going on in Washington.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't, especially young folks, their history. They don't know if they teach that anymore or not. But a lot of them don't even know what Watergate is. They think it's a salad.
Yeah. But I ended up working the part of the summer. One summer I worked in the Rayburn building, house office building.
Uh-huh.
And that was good. We helping the waiters and bartending and stuff like that.
Wow.
That's about all we did. But it was a great learning experience. Met a lot of people that I wouldn't normally have met in everyday life. Congressmen, senators, stuff like that.
Now, did you become a real good electrician?
I was headed that way. That way. And of course I jammed my knee again in working. And I had to give that up,
Because you got to do a lot of climbing.
And I went to school, got into radio, TV broadcasting.
Oh, okay.
And I went to Temple Technical Institute. It was about an 18-month program up there in D.C. and finished that up. After that, I went to a broadcast engineering school in Sarasota, Florida. And we finished up there. And
what got you going that route? I mean, here you're studying. I mean, like an apprentice, towards your being an electrician.
Right.
And I know something about your knee, but what got you saying, "Well, I want to go into broadcasting"? And
well, it was available. They were advertising, heavy advertising back then.
Uh-huh.
Wanting people to get into it. The school was right downtown. Bus ran right past my house.
Oh, wow.
Went to school every evening after work for about 18 months, and
so that bug caught you.
It caught me. I had a couple of great young guys. They were radio DJs,
Mm-hmm.
and they brought us in. It was fun. It was a lot of fun going in and learning how to be a DJ, basically, a talk show host.
Right.
But it was a great learning experience, and these guys were terrific.
Yeah, we had those big knobs. I was a DJ at one up in Saltville, Virginia, and big old console like that, and we had knobs and flip switches. We didn't have this electronic stuff.
Oh, no.
We had the old school stuff.
Yeah. We you know, and they learn us board operations, speech and diction.
Right.
You know, forming and pronouncing words the way they're supposed to be, and not trying to drop the slang. But
Did you ever have to put a pencil in your mouth and talk?
no.
They made me do that. Put it in my mouth like this is now pronounce these right here. Put this in your mouth.
Yeah, yeah. Popping peas and
Yeah.
I'm not sure you heard of that.
Yeah.
Get up on the microphone and but it was
Those P words.
Yeah, yeah.
I tell my wife that all the time. I says, quit using those P words.
Yeah, we had a little routine. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers.
Right.
we said that so many times, but it was great. I
Yeah.
had a great time.
Well, I don't know if they had the screens now like they got now, to catch them P words.
Now, first time I saw one was on networks. They was using that screen to catch you.
Well, some of the singers are using them now, and actually I've seen a couple podcasts where they had to. Sometimes I use the headphones in my thing here, but I like without all that restriction, with all that stuff, and too many buttons we had to push. But and they have the screens on there. Of course, now they got the cover that goes over top of them.
Right.
Where before they didn't even have that, did it?
No.
It is a
just naked microphone.
naked microphone. Now, after you left there, you went to Saratoga,
Sarasota,
Florida, and to continue your education in broadcasting.
Yeah, it basically preparing us for the our license. I got I had a third class, and I got my first class engineering license in broadcasting, and that was a big deal back then. I remember, we prepared for it, and the first day we sit down in training, we had we had a test with 500 questions on it. Good thing we didn't have a time limit. We didn't have a time limit on it, but it had to be done within school hours. And we had 500 questions on it. Now, some of those guys were pretty good engineers already.
Right.
And they were sitting there, and the guy, one of my buddies sitting across, he, out of 500 questions, he missed about 2.
Wow.
I missed about 10 the first time, but we went back, and the test was a tricky test, and they kept telling us, now when you're going to take the test for the FCC, they're going to ask you about a condenser. A condenser and a capacitor, the same thing.
Right.
But they use the word condenser to kind of screw you up. And some of them fell for it, and then some of them said, okay, I got this one. They're talking about a capacitor, and they'll use the word condenser. But
and see, a lot of people don't know that when what you're going through there is not just sitting there being a DJ.
Right.
The DJ back then, if you blew a condenser or something like that, you kind of had to know how to change it.
Yeah, especially if we've always had a engineer. That's all he did. He sit there and he just kind of watches and stuff like that. But if we had to, we were able to get in there and read meters and sign off on the logs and stuff like that.
Right.
But you had to have your permit to do that.
Yeah. Now, did you ever get on the air?
Oh yeah, plenty of times.
Yeah. How did you like it when you first went on the air?
It was different. It was new. You kind of up on the mic and kind of shaking a little bit, but you finally settle down into it.
And people don't realize this too, that has never DJ'd before, is that you're in a room and you're actually talking to no one.
No one.
They're not right in front of you. And if you get that in your mindset while you're doing your show or doing something like that, you'll kind of blank out just a minute or two and then have to, recover a little bit. Yeah. I know I had to, because it's like, who am I talking to here?
And you kind of catch styles from other people in the industry that you listen to and watch a lot of times. Just kind of pick up some good things. There's been some great DJs out there. The great Wolfman Jack.
Oh, Wolfman Jack, yes.
Those guys was just
Casey Kasem. And
I love Casey Kasem. I could sit down and listen to him, because he always telling a story.
Exactly. He told about the record, the music and stuff. And you know, I find out on today's music and today's DJs, they don't actually do that anymore. Matter of fact, they sometimes don't even announce who the artist was,
Right.
or the song's name. They just start, just play the songs and then go into whatever they're going into. And I always liked it when they would say what the song was and what the artist was.
Well, I listen to, I got satellite radio in the car and truck, and I always listen to the guys on 73 XM. They're old DJs that kind of transcended with the market, and they do an excellent job. But they always give a story behind a lot of the music because they knew a lot of these entertainers,
Right.
And they give you a story behind them. And oh man, sometimes I come home at night and just sit in the truck and I want to go in the house. I got it in the house too, but I don't want to have to fumble through things to get
Right.
it on. I just listen to it. I keep it on my cell phone too.
Well, you'd love my son's room. He's got a room big as this right here. Wall-to-wall albums and records. Wall-to-wall. And you can, anything from the 70s and 80s and 60s, you just ask him a question about it. He can tell you the artist, tell his history behind it. But he has got about thousands and thousands of records and albums and all there.
Well, I never threw mine away. I never threw my old albums away. My sister almost tripped me up one time. My uncle, he spent 30 years in the military, and he had brought all of his tape equipment, reel-to-reel tape.
Oh yes.
Everything, and he had a stack of albums, God knows how high. And I come home one evening, and my sister was cleaning out everything. She liked all the modern stuff, and she had all these albums stacked up by the trash can. I was like,
Oh no.
And I went out there and I just stopped till I loaded everything in the back of my car, and I took them home with me, and I still have them.
What's a couple of your favorite artists?
My favorite artists groups: Curtis Mayfield, Temptation, Smokey Robinson.
Oh yeah, Motown stuff.
Motown stuff, because that's what we grew up with. But you had a lot of a lot of other good labels that was just as good.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I used to love to listen to John R. You remember John R. way down south in Dixie?
Oh yes.
Yeah, Randy's record mart. He pushed a lot of songs that eventually end up being hits, but you heard a lot of stuff you didn't hear on your regular radio station.
Yeah. Hodges Music used to be downtown.
Hodges
Music. My son used to work there, and I had the lady that was been there for years and years and years on my show here too, and we talked about the music and stuff there. And you probably know Bobby Robinson.
I know Bobby.
Yeah, Motown Bobby.
Motown Bobby. Yeah. Every time I see him, he called me David Ruffin. We get together and we'll start up a little old tune or something. But he's a great guy.
Yeah, he is. He is.
He's got a lot of stories too, talking about the days that when he was in New York, and his dad had a rock record label, and his dad was named Bobby Robinson. And everybody thought he was kin to Smokey Robinson, but I think his dad knew Smokey Robinson.
Yeah. Well, Bobby said that he is kin to him.
Okay.
That he was kin to Smokey.
Okay.
That was his uncle. I believe that's what he told me.
Okay.
And so he took my son up there with him to New York, and they went to visit.
Okay.
Someplace. They had a great time. But you're talking about the FCC license and stuff that you had to get. DJs back then had to get FCC license. It's not like the engineers.
Yeah, they got the third.
Right, it's like telephone radio license.
Yeah.
And I used to fly a private plane, and I had to get that license to even fly, to use the radio on the aircraft.
Did you have to get a radar endorsement?
Yes.
Yeah, they was given that. You could take it if you want to. If you didn't, it wasn't mandatory.
Right.
But I didn't get a radar endorsement on mine.
Well, now when you, I tell you what, we're going to go to Keepsake Jewelers right quick. I got talking here and about to get to put them on there. So Mother's Day's coming up, so be sure to go to Keepsake Jewelers. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back and we're talking to Mayor Thompson. I tell you, you're probably thinking, well, I thought you was talking to a DJ. Well, we are too. Now, we was of course talking about all the music and things and your education and broadcasting, getting, what was your first job when you left, when you got your certification or your degree there in Florida?
Well, coming out of school, I was moving back to South Carolina. It was during the mid-'70s. I think there was a gas shortage.
Oh, yes.
And I was headed back to D.C. And I'm driving, and I thought just decided to just stop in the Union and holler at my grandmother and my family, and keep getting up to D.C. And ran into a guy by the name of Albert Smith out of Jonesville. He worked for Channel 7 in Columbia. Albert was in law school then, and he was doing broadcast. He was our cover guy. Well, he was Channel 7's cover guy in Columbia, covering the State House. And he heard I was in town, and he called and said, "Hey, they got a job open at Channel 7. Why don't you go and apply?" I said, "Fine." I didn't have anything planned for a job at that particular time, just getting out of school. So I went and applied. And when I got there, funny thing, I had my FCC first grade license, and basically they was telling me I was overqualified because here I am, I'm just wanting a job.
Right.
It wasn't really to pay right then, just wanted a job. So I talked to the general manager and the station manager, and I can remember I'm sitting here. The general manager, my department manager was sitting right where you are, and the station manager was back over my shoulder, and I could see him out the corner of my eye, and he did like that, and the manager, he dropped his head, his eyes got big because he was ready to hire me, so that I didn't get the job. Bottom line, I didn't get the job at that particular time. It was in December 1976. They called me. It was on a Wednesday. I remember they called me back and asked me was I still interested in the job because whoever they was trying to hire didn't have anything. So they called me back and they hired me then. And I worked in various areas. We did a little film. In TV. I started in radio, but I ended up in TV because that's the part that I like. There's a lot of things to learn in TV.
Right.
And I ended up being I worked for the engineering department too sometime, and I ended up being a board operator, a master control operator, making sure your soap operas ran on time and in order. And just kept moving from there. And
Well, people don't realize that that job, you got to constantly watch the clock.
you got to. You're right.
Every second is money in that business.
Yeah.
And mess up a soap opera.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. I could write a book about some of the things that happened at Channel 7. It's a lot of stuff, man. But, we waded through it, and I'm the type of person I can't stand to be around something and I don't know something about. how it operates.
Right.
I'm a real stickler for that, and I began to get in there, and I spent a lot of time at work, a lot of time that I didn't get paid for. I would volunteer to help here and there.
That's how you learn, isn't it?
Just to learn, and
Yeah.
I did, and you know,
Did you ever push the wrong button?
a couple times, a couple times.
Yeah,
like
I
you
do
said-
that even now. It's just, oh
Yeah.
God, I forgot to push that one right there, and
gotta
I can
be-
imagine that whole.
You got to be paying
Bored.
attention, but then it becomes natural. It becomes natural. It's settling in on you, and you pushing buttons, and you know where they are then on the keyboard.
Right. Now, did you ever go out with the camera itself out into the field, or?
Oh yeah, I started working, helped shooting commercials for Channel 7, and I was still working in the production department. I was
Oh,
in
okay.
the production department, and funny thing, I was drafted. I was drafted out of the production department into news because I was pretty good cameraman. You know, you gotta have an eye. You know, picking up different things. Not a still camera, this is a video camera.
Yeah.
And
Now, did they see, like now, digital? Love it. Did you have to carry the 3/4 inch?
oh yeah,
tape.
we had the tape deck
Yes.
on one shoulder and the camera up on one shoulder.
I had batteries around my.
Batteries around your waist.
your
Lights,
waist.
those were your lights.
Yes.
And we also had camera batteries that went around your waist.
Yep.
And you're like a pack mule when you carrying all this stuff.
You got to be strong,
You got to be.
and plus moving around with it.
And you know, working around and with the networks, and you know, here they come blasting in, and they think that they are the
Top dogs.
They're top dogs, and which really they are. They think
Yeah.
they're the top dog, and you have to be kind of pushy yourself, because those guys will elbow you. And especially when the national press comes in with the president or somebody,
Oh.
they'll run over you. And we've had some things that happen. I mean, you know, those guys, if the local people like us are already in a good spot, those guys, they'll come in, they'll push you. Some of them carry those wire cutters. They'll cut your cable because they don't want you to get
the news first.
A
Yeah.
shot that they should be getting.
Well, I must say, even with my little bitty stuff that I do around here, when the sheriff has a statement to make, stuff like that, he'll send me a message too, because you know they can only put so much time on the air with some of it, and where of course mine's live stream, but. All the channels that it comes in and does that has been super, super nice, very cordial and stuff. Hadn't had no major networks come in, but they were just really super nice. And they said, "Oh, are we okay right here? You're fine."
Yeah.
You know, it was,
And we had to work around and with still photographers, and those poor guys.
now they get in your way.
Yeah, they really get in your way, man. I've seen fights and all.
Yeah, and it's still like that today. They'll get right. They're not paying attention. What's
Right. The only thing they see was
Throw that right
they
there.
got their little camera.
yes.
Man, how many shots you need? I mean, go ahead and get a shot and move out of the way. Little they try.
Now, what are some of your favorite people that you've met that's, say, celebrities as far as...
I met just about all of them in the news industry back during that time, during the 80s and 90s. I've met President George Bush. I would say I was one of the what we call stream photographers. You know, they're only allowed two.
Right.
In when they doing press briefings, a press conference or something like that, and I was one of the two that they allowed in. Reagan, President Clinton. I can just go down the list.
Wow.
I've met a lot of them.
Yeah.
Taking pictures.
Well, I got to meet one president. That's George Bush. I got to
Yeah.
shake his hand. He gave me a little medallion, like, and I took the Secret Service guys out a couple times to a couple clubs back then when I went there and stuff. And
I had my time with Secret Service.
yeah, and that one kind of dropped his ID, and one says, I says, hey, is this it? He said, please, hold on to a minute. We're going to scare him to death. That guy panicked. I said, I got it. But yeah, it was very interesting how they set up everything and how that you got to follow these strict rules. You don't, you're out of there.
Yeah, I came to work one morning, and this was back during the time that I believe Jesse Jackson ran for president, and we had to go to Columbia because they just all of a sudden called and overnight and said they're going to have a news conference at 9 o'clock. Well, we normally didn't come to work at 9 o'clock. So I get in and get my stuff together, and we get back out the door, and we late already. Secret Service had already what they call swept the area.
Right.
And once they sweep it, nobody can go back into that area. And we were supposed to be there as one of the pool cameras, and we weren't in place. And once we got there, of course, you got to get some pushy reporters, and the reporter was trying to bogart his way in, and the Secret Service said, no, you can't get in. You wasn't here on time, and I can't let you in now. And the guy just kept talking. And he said, no, I'm telling you the last time, you can't get in. This guy kept talking. So the Secret Service guys, he said, I'm not telling you anymore. And he pulled his coat back. They carry a little old,
oh yes,
in the small of the back there. And I told her, I said, man, come on, let's go. We need to move on and find somewhere else because we're not going in there. And they, they stopped me a couple of times up in Boston, Massachusetts. We went up there, and I had all the equipment, and I thought my reporter was getting the batteries, so I didn't have my backup battery. And here I had to kind of weave my way through Dan Rather, all those folks to get back out to the car. And when I went out and I came back in, and then they stopped me and wanted to know why I was moving around, and coming back through that. And I told them I left batteries in the car, and they was okay with it. They let me go.
Well, I guess
it's interesting.
Yeah, I see you kind of weaving up there. So wait, we'll watch this go. And that's their job and stuff. Well, you've worked 32 years, I believe, with
33 years.
With Channel 7 on, and I know with all that you're meeting a lot of people that influencers, and some of them that you probably said they're influencers. You see the bad side of them, and all. Because I've mentioned I've seen a couple bad sides on a couple, but that was a good career. And we're going to go back to the commercial here, and we're going to talk about your political. We talk a little about the mayor, because you're the mayor. We need to talk about that. We can talk about music all day long. But we'll be right back right after this. All right, we'll come back and we talk about some of your editing there. Did you have to use the? It's almost like VCRs, but the 3/4-inch players, like several of them to do it with, or?
Yeah, we had two of them linked together. You had an editor and you had a playback. Yeah.
And when you talk about reel-to-reels like that, we had to use the 16 channel. We do the voice here, we do the here, the words, and this right here, something else, and then blend them together.
Yeah, we didn't do too much reel to reel. Everything was moving to 3/4-inch tape back then, and reel to reel had gone out, and that 3/4-inch was it was a monster. but they over the years they've knocked it down to almost nothing now.
Yeah, well, back then, the quality of it was great. I know they went to some VHS stuff, which really, to me, wasn't that quality.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody's ever got a VHS tape and you kept it for years, you'll find out. Now, how did you get from all the camera work and all the excitement of the entertainment world and to into politics? Now, I know you went not directly into mayor, but you were a council person, city council for 10 years.
What happened before city council? I had came back to town, and one of the council people decided that he wasn't going to run again. So some people was trying to look out, trying to figure out who they wanted to run, and they asked a lot of people, and then of course they asked me. I said no, because I really, I still don't consider myself to be a politician. I just didn't like politics, and they kept on asking me until the last day, and I'm trying to be smart. I said, well, I'll sign up to run. I know I'm not gonna win. Oh man, I got in there, and when the numbers start coming in, I end up being elected to city council. And I said, well, I do these 4 years and go sit down. I ended up doing 4 more, 4 more after that.
Yeah, and you also got voted by your council, your peers there, to become is the interim, not interim, but
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem. Yeah, that's a position that's second to the mayor, and
like almost like vice president, right?
Yeah. If the mayor can't do this, then it becomes my responsibility to step in.
Right.
Just like it happened,
Right, and you had to step into this one right here, and but I think my math is correct. You've been mayor now for, is it 18 years?
I'm in the 16th year.
16th year. Okay, I knew it was somewhere in there because elected, you've been close to that, but you was mayor before then, but stepping in.
Yeah.
And
for about from July to November. Then I ran for the seat.
Right.
That November. Yeah.
And now, when you was taking this over, I mean, you probably wasn't expecting to do that right away, and you run for mayor. And I noticed that in some writings that I read, that you didn't go in there with a hammer and start changing everything at one time and just kind of turning things topsy-turvy.
No, I was sworn in Charleston, South Carolina, for the simple reason being we were headed to Charleston when everything kind of broke. We were headed to Charleston for our state meeting, municipal association, and I had gotten a call from some people, and I kept thinking, I said, well, they probably just want to know what time I'm leaving to go to Charleston, blah blah blah, and I didn't call them right back. I didn't call him back that night or either the next morning because I was trying to sleep, and then I had gone to work, and I got another call before I got off from work that morning. So I just stopped by, and then I got the news that that had happened, and of course my clerk back here, they rounded everybody up, and they said we got to go to Charleston to swear the mayor in. So attorneys, support people, clerk, they all came down, and I was sworn in at Francis Marion Hotel in Charleston, South Carolina.
Now, does the governor swear you in, or is it?
No, the clerk basically.
The clerk does, just like it does here in the county with
city clerk.
with Melody, and it does.
Yeah.
Okay, but they had to come with you that down there in Charleston, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So, and
well, like you said, I didn't come in swinging a hammer,
right.
And beating up on people. The thing was to just come in and look where we need to make changes. And the most important thing that happened to me right before we got to that point, something was tugging at me, and I didn't know what it was. you know, have something bothering you, don't know, you can't put your hand on it.
Right.
And I came down Highway 176 just outside of Jonesville, and I pulled a car over and I started crying. I said, Lord, what is it that you want me to do? Now, you know, I didn't hear a voice come down out of the sky. I didn't nobody touch me on the shoulder, but there was a sudden calmness that came over me, and it was a calm feeling, like everything was gonna be all right. And then when all of this happened, and I was taking a lot of classes on my own, you know, to learn the job,
Right.
to learn just being a good counsel person. And I was taking a lot of classes, and I had so many classes. When I went to Washington, D.C. for a meeting, and the girl, the lady that was over the program, she said, Mr. Thompson, are you in a certificate program? I said, no, what are you talking about? She said, well, you're at everything that we giving and we teaching, but you're not getting any you're not getting the
Certificates to getting credit for
the
it.
credit. That's what I want.
Yeah.
You're not getting credit for it. And she said, well, come here, let me go over all the things that you've been on. And when she finished, I was like about four certificates ahead of everybody, because she gave me all my credit right then. And I had seen a lot of the stuff I was faced with at that particular time. And I had no excuse, because, you know, all I had to do was just apply what I had learned, you know, from some of these classes and move on, and that's what happened.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know that when you've taken over in the beginning there, that there was some structure there that you just said, we need to work this structure. It looks good. I mean, you didn't say, well, we're going out with this because this was done this way and this way right here. That you had your team there, that you wanted to make them feel confident in yourself and you in them. Because it's very important, if you're a team there, that you have the confidence that they can really back you up and help you with this transition.
And they did. We had a lot of extraordinary people, department heads that worked there at the city, and a lot of them still there. Some have retired and moved on. But, you know, the only thing I needed to do was go in, make a couple of adjustments. After I sit down and talk to them, they said, we need to make a slight adjustment here and there, and let them do their job.
Right.
You know, not try to micromanage, because they have been in their jobs, you know, 20 and 30 years. You know, who would I be to go in there and say, I want you to stop doing this?
If they don't know their job by then, they
should. They did an extraordinary job of making sure that our finances were taken care of. And if the only thing we had to do, which fell on me, to build our reputation back up,
right,
locally,
trust,
regional, and statewide. Because you know how I feel to be sitting up in a meeting and somebody whispering, "That's a Mel Union right now. I wonder when he going to jail."
Yeah,
you know, you hearing things like that. But I took it. You know, probably got beat up by a lot of, verbally beaten up by a lot of people. But
right.
you know, we held our head up high, and we my thing is make sure that I follow the old thing that people say. You know, leave it better than you found it.
That's right, right. Well, and you're, like you said, you're not a politician, but you're a people person. I mean, you've been doing it for 32 years, being around all kind of people, all the politicians and everything, you know, from your work, and because that's entertainment, that's media. Before we go with Facebook and all that mess there, all this right here is the good old school stuff, and you just brought that to the table with being a mayor, and because I haven't heard but just good things about you about being a mayor, and that's very important. Is being trust. Micromanage would drive you nuts.
Well, you know, and I try to get a new thing around City Hall. Treat everybody the same, you know, and try to help people if you can. I've been in my office and people come in with a problem with utilities and stuff like that, and somewhere along the line while they're talking, I might drop my head and say a quick prayer. You know, sometimes the answer is flat out no.
Right.
Sometimes, you know, you can see a way to try to help people. And I think I found out with a lot of people, people don't understand how government works. You know,
Right.
some would come in and they be all boisterous, raising sand. Oh, you know, come on in, sit down sit down and let's talk a few minutes. And when they leave, their minds at ease because they had opportunity to talk to somebody that's in charge, and somebody to let them know that, you know, hey, we here for you. In some situation, ain't nothing we can do. And in very few situations where there's nothing you can do,
Right.
you can kind of I don't like to use the word or bend the rule, but you know, sometimes people need help, and you have to do something right then and
Well, being a
there.
mayor, you know a lot of resources,
Yeah,
and where a lot of people don't know where to go, and that's great that they can come to you
and
with those resources.
I have been the resources. Sometimes I've had to give people money out of my pocket
Yeah.
because I wouldn't dare sit there and let somebody utilities get turned off for less than $100.
Right.
You know, and sometimes you know you got people that they doing the best they can. They trying to work. They trying to take care of their families. And sometimes you know you just get on a tight spot.
Well, circumstances happen.
Yeah,
That happens to all
yeah,
of us.
yeah. And I think God makes a way.
Yeah.
He makes a way, and He put things on your heart, you know, and you're supposed to pass it on and help somebody.
Yeah. When we had National Day of Prayer, that's one thing we prayed for was our government, and the mayor of Gaffney said a prayer also. And one of the things is you know we need more God into the government, into the fields to guide the mayors, on up to the governors, to the president. We need that structure.
You know, I grew up in the church, and I really believe that prayer works. My granddaddy prayed for me, and my grandmother too. And you know, and everything I do, even now, is being an old man, not old, but being an old man. You know, I always think of I don't a day go by that I don't think about the lessons that I learned from my granddaddy and my grandmother. And those things have kept me and stayed with me throughout my life. And you know, and I feel that I feel good about where my life has come from. You know, I don't have a from rags to riches story. I've always had good clothes, food on the table. My grandmother and my grandfather, they didn't have any formal education other than, you know, my grandmother taught me how to read.
Oh,
My granddaddy, he couldn't read or write, but he was well respected in the community. He had a lot of good common sense.
right. And sometimes you need that.
Oh yeah, a lot of times
Yes.
sometimes your decisions have to be good common sense decisions.
Right.
You know, and when you start practicing stuff like that, it comes together. But you always got to remember, you always got to keep God in the foresight.
Right. And you being mayor, I see you all over the place at different businesses, at different places that they're having either an event or something like that. You try to be there. And to me, I think I commend you for that right there because it shows that you care about the people of Union, you care about Union, and as long as you've been mayor like that, I know you love Union and you want whatever's best for Union.
You know, being there and trying to do things, or sometimes, you know, back here about 5 years ago, I got real sick. A lot of people don't know it, but I had to. I thought I was about had a stroke or something. I had just left for ribbon cutting, and went back to the office, and coming up the stairs, I started falling against the walls, and my secretary said, "You okay?" I said, "No, I don't feel well." She said, "Well, you need to go home." And when I walked in the door, I fell in the floor, and I laid there for a while, and then I finally got myself up and called the doctor. But I was real sick, and the doctor said I was just dehydrated exhausted,
Mm-hmm.
you know, sleeping 2 or 3 hours a night, wasn't eating right. It was just a bunch of things that I had ignored my body. And my body said, hey, you know, I got something for you. I'm going to shut you down for a minute.
They're gonna make you slow down a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, and you probably learned a valuable lesson there to kind of pace yourself now.
I did.
To,
I did. I pace myself
Yeah.
now, and I try to still get to as many things as possible.
right.
But I try to depend on the rest of my council people to help
Right.
show up and shadow load.
And I think that's good for the council people to show up because that's people voted them in
Right.
also, and they need to show up to show their presence and say, okay, I am concerned about this city. I'm concerned about your needs and stuff. And I know the downtown has been a project that that I know people thinks that magically things can happen, but I see that downtown when they is going to really just burst out the seams.
It's coming together. You know, they predicted. We was at a meeting a few years back, and they were predicting this area would explode in about 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we're maybe 5 or 10 years down, but you know, I've always felt that we got more people in Union than we think we have, and I know the census come out, but just think of all the people that don't fill out the census.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that. We got a lot of people here.
It's probably at least 25-30% don't even do it.
You're right. You're right. And they don't understand the importance of it. And you know, and I would have to say, years ago, I used to be one of them. You know, I get that census paper and, you know, pitch it aside somewhere. But the thing is, I finally, about 10 years ago, I finally got that thing and looked at it. And 2/3 of it don't even concern me. You know? But you can look at the paperwork, you look at it, but 2/3 of it don't even concern me.
Yeah.
And that 1/3 asks a lot of questions and stuff like that. That's, you know.
Remember when they used to come door to door?
Yeah.
And I know they probably quit that for safety reasons and stuff now, but I remember they used to come to the door. And I always wondered, why they want to ask all this question? I mean, not to me, those ask my parents, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder, why are they asking about me? You know, I thought I'd done something. But downtown to me is growing, and it's the potential is. I see, and 20 years go by quick. You know, we know that, but it's growth takes a lot of time, and we're seeing growing here in Union.
We got a lot of growth here in town. A lot of it. We got more jobs now than people to fill them. We got people in and out on all ends of town. You know, I think, you know, even on the southern part of town, going through the National Forest, you know, people coming from Newberry, Clinton, Lawrence, here, and people leaving here going to different places. But you know, with the new hospital that's coming, you know, we got the new housing development. You know, we got some what I call the fabric that holds everything together, our small business.
Right.
And you know, we got some major companies, Harbor Freight,
Yep. Tractor Supply.
Tractor Supply. All of those are you know, they're a placemaker.
Right.
I mean, they helps a lot. People come to town and use it.
And I think when they put like Tractor Supply and they put Harbor Freight, stuff like that, those people that place those businesses in towns, they're looking at, they're visionaries. They look and say, hey, we better get in there because it's going to grow. And that's another sign to me is that growth is coming.
It's coming.
And you know, it's and people just have to be patient on it. They can't say, well, I thought you was going to let this. I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day, as they said.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't built in 2 days.
No, it wasn't. What is some of the, we're getting close out of time right now, but what is some of the main questions that people ask you some of the concerns they have?
Some of the concerns, of course, the homeless situation, and my thing is that you know, if you don't get out and just kind of pay attention, you don't see them. Because I thought for a long time, I said, well, where the homeless people are, but now we know they're standing in old houses, abandoned buildings, or wherever they can go, and in just the general welfare of government, where we stand and how we stand as far as doing things and keeping taxes affordable for our people, making sure that we got affordable housing, and I hate to hear people say, well, they use that term, those folks don't need to be here, be there. They got just as much right as we are. And the Bible said that they will, poor people will always be with us.
That's right.
They'll always be with us. So we're not into anything fresh or anything new. We're in the same place as everybody else. And I travel around the country, and we got the same problems everybody else got. We're trying to handle the drug problems, and trying to get a hold of that. I don't know what it's going to take.
Well, I think with that, it's got to happen national too.
Right.
Because if they kind of stop it, it's going to trickle on down. It's going to get less and less. I don't think one city or even union can stop all of it coming in when you got it like a floodgate coming from borders and everywhere else coming out. Somebody's going to bring it in.
And another thing is, us trying to keep our town a little neater, not throwing trash. It hurts to drive around and you see some areas that's just saturated with trash and stuff like that. Paper, and it's always on those little old roads like 49 in and out of town.
Right.
Where you see a lot of the stuff.
Well, you got the dump going out there too, and I think a lot of that's coming off some of these trucks and things that hauls trash. That I know they're supposed to have covers over them and stuff, but sometimes it leaks out, and you got other people that just says just throw it out.
And of course, we got the ongoing situation of trying to make sure our streets are decent, making sure we keep our rates affordable for people, and it's just a lot of things a lot of moving pieces. And we got an old workforce. I hate to say it, but the city got an older workforce, and we rebuilding from within because we had so many retirements in the last few years. I was talking to the clerk today, and she was listening to people that's retired, retired last week and the week before, and people are still putting in for their retirement. So it's a good place to work, a good place to raise a family, and
great benefits.
Yeah.
Great benefits, because our work has got great benefits, and it's very important to me. And you got good benefits, you got a steady work. It's not like a factory can come and go.
Right.
But you got a town that's not going to come and go like that.
Just look back a few years when our unemployment rate was 22%, and I checked the unemployment rate maybe weekly, and we bouncing around between 6% and 9%. Which is still good.
Yeah.
Which is still good. And we got plenty of jobs. Anybody want a job, they can not get a job.
Right. Well, it's in the paper. You see it all the time when someone says, well, I can't find, well, I've seen a lot of jobs posted, and I see it a lot on Facebook where people say, needing help here, needing help here.
Yeah.
And I think when we get to the point where people can get to work and wants to work. See, that's the thing about it. They got to want to work. They can't well, I'm comfortable where I am now with this is helping me here and there. You're talking about the homeless and stuff like that. We've got a lot of agencies here now in Union that's there to help and are helping. And but the key thing is that they have to help themselves.
Yeah.
It's not, you can't do it for them.
Yeah, I'm amazed at all the agencies that we got, and we finally getting to the point where we're putting them together and making a clearinghouse. Okay, I got this problem, this problem, this problem. You go over here.
Yeah.
Go to this person, that person, this agency.
Yeah, because you got like Se2 Ministries, you've got Prodigal house. You got the Love Thy Neighbor.
Right.
There's the other lady with the, it's over the farmer's market there, that they do some things there too.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a lot more than I've ever seen in a long time. And that's because, well, one thing, the needs there, and that's to me showing another thing of growth. You know. Well, it's at the top of the hour, and I'm so glad that you got to come on and talk to me about that. I really enjoyed it. Learned a lot of stuff, and you got to remember that the mayor's always has his door open.
Always.
I know every time I went up there, it's always open. I just walked on in. But getting an appointment is much better.
No, I don't. If I'm on campus, I don't mind seeing people, and I tell them, you know, if I'm in a meeting and you want to wait, fine. I'll do what I can to get out to get to you. But you know, just call me, and then you know, in a lot of cases, you want to come by the house,
Yeah.
or even meet me somewhere. And that's one good thing that I've always tried to do when somebody have a problem, not try to figure out over the phone. I said, give me your address and I'll be there in 15 minutes. I'll be there in 20 minutes or 30 minutes. I go to a lot of people's houses.
Well, that's why you've been mayor as long as you have. People love you.
All right.
They do. Well, I appreciate you. And tomorrow we got a special coming tomorrow, and that's Se2 Ministries with Brad and Bill. And we're going to talk about the fantastic golf tournament that's coming up that benefits a lot of people. And we're going to talk about that and their ministry. Well, I'm Jerry McKee, and this is Prime Time, and we will see you tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Have a blessed day.